Alright, bits are flowing. Welcome to the stream. Oof, sorry, my speech is a little weird. Once again, the microphone echo, the headphones echo. Yo, alright, chat. Can use the IRC link in the description. web.libera.chat/hashtag iSpooge daily. You don't have to register, you can just go. All right. So I've been messing with this Hogumathi stuff more because, yeah, I want to have my own app. So last time I was showing just the non-early access version without all the special plugins and stuff, just what's available right now on the GitHub. And I loaded the premium extension, so now we've got DMs, mentions, and some more stuff here. This graph here, I forget if that's a premium extension, but yeah, I just didn't have this library in my path at all. So either way, so this is what I made my app for. It's because back in the day they used to be able to do something called tweet storms. That's really where you like tweet a whole bunch of tweets, and then your timeline has like 50 tweets on it from the same day, but then you don't know what the account usually looks like, because that's usually like an unhinged rant sort of thing that people do or did. And now it's just like every day is a tweet storm from everybody, so it doesn't matter. Or maybe I'm just following more engaged posters or whatever, but yeah. So this was the very first thing that I did, was make it so that the timeline renders one of these timeline visualization components, with the regular tweets being blue, and then I think retweets are purple. They don't have fixed colors, if I remember correctly, so there's just 3 colors. And the next one's usually orange, so it'll be regular tweets, replies, and retweets. So I loaded this page a few minutes ago, but let's see if the session will give us another page. Nope. So it's loading a new one from the top. And then I have a bunch of timeouts built into here, just because my way of detecting if there's more tweets that stops the scroll is if the scroll bar is down to the bottom. And yeah, that doesn't work, so I've got to like keep the window shrunken up. All right, so now all of these are this highlighted color because I've seen them before. So now when we get to the bottom, this page should actually scroll instead of opening a new tab. And it does nothing of the sort. That's not cool. So the server gets jammed up in a couple ways. And so if you've been, oh, there it goes. Right, 15-second delay that I coded in. So yeah, I get the next page of tweets just after a 15-second delay, okay? So I got it to get the correct avatar image and stuff. Like if you saw it yesterday, it was not like that. So someone said, oh yeah, this should be more polished up and I should give a demo then. And I don't know if they mean don't show progress at all, or they just want to see it more like polished up. But yeah, the reason I have 2 brands is because my harlanji brand is the polished up brand, ready to show, ready to, you know, commercially ready. Whereas this brand, iSpooge Daily, is my just whatever I've done. It's not slop because it's not AI. Like, this is human progress. You guys want to complain about watching human progress? Okay. I'm not saying the person was necessarily complaining, but I get where the complaint was coming from. You know, like last time I showed this, there were like all these errors, like nonstop. But to me, that's a good demo. It's just like I'm showing what's working. And it's just not on the other channel that's showing what's like completely polished and done. Like, you know, middle ground, I'm not sitting here saying like what I plan to do, oh, future faking, all this stuff. I'm like showing you, hey, here's what I've got going. It's already working. Yeah, it's not perfect, but look, it's working. Like, it's scrolling the timeline, it's popping up tweets. So the reason there's one point from way back here, that's the pinned tweet. So that's always the first one that comes back. So I was thinking about, oh, like, could we look at like, you know, just basically get rid of outliers and then zoom in the graph on non-outliers. Another one that's going to have old dates is going to be if you retweet too. So maybe we could just like exclude retweets that fall out of a range, you know. Over here on the left, you see this gaps. So I've already got some code to do something called gaps and islands. So here's kind of an island of tweets. If you say like, you know, 1 hour gaps between islands. So like here's one with just one, here's one with just one. And then everything that's connected with less than an hour here is one island. So we could go out to 1 hour from here, basically, and it would be the same island. So here's another one. And then since it extends here, but there's less than an hour gap here, potentially. No, so there's more than an hour gap there. So, and probably there too. So we'd have like an island, an island, an island. So these gaps will be all the spaces where there's more than an hour between points. And with the Twitter API, you can browse ranges of dates or ranges of tweets ID. So you can do like since the beginning of the gap and until the end of the gap. So it's actually just like not only real time also. So Hogumathi is what we're looking at. And then why did it go offline for 1.5 years or 2 years? Because API access went up to $100 a month. So for a bootstrapper who doesn't have that kind of income, it just doesn't make sense to have it. And there's just not even a lower tier to mess around with. So I made this API proxy. It looks like Twitter API to any old app that's talking to it, but then it's actually controlling a browser session, and that's what we're looking at here. So I've got this browser extension that then connects into this same API server. So when we're done with work, we post it. When we want to get work, we can get it up here somewhere. Get/work. So that's not WebSockets, it's server sent events. It's a little bit simpler, maybe not as robust in theory, but it's pretty much as robust as like built-in HTTP polling, but it's built in by the browser itself, so you don't even have to write that little bit of code to do the long polling. So I don't know, I like it. So I always go with that instead of WebSockets. So yeah, this is scrolling my profile. Let's see if, I think I've got a timeout built in for like 10 minutes. But I haven't QA'd that code closely. So yeah, it's still going. QA means quality assured. So then all of this is saved to a database, and you'll notice in the pagination tokens, it's :5, the last one's :4, :3. So yeah, we can actually replay. I don't have an endpoint to do it, but I have most of the code to do it, and putting an endpoint around it's pretty easy. But so now I'll go to this gaps thing. This is the closest functionality to it. But so if you look at the link on the bottom, you can see since ID and until ID, since ID and until ID for like a 4-hour gap, 2 hour, 2.8, 2.8, 2.2, 6.4. So we can just see what we missed in these gaps. So this is derived from that same database, but it just finds the gaps. So instead what we would do is just find all the distinct queries that each have their own sequential query ID, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And we could replay for that query and scroll through those cached timelines re-rendered. So if we scrolled through and just saw a whole bunch of crazy stuff on our timeline in the morning, and then we were going to do a live stream in the evening, we could literally replay through that exact series of tweets. Like even if some were deleted or anything, we can scroll through it exactly as we saw it. Okay. So this is open source software, and some of these advanced features are early access, which is $12 a month, and support is $225 a month. That means you can actually be guaranteed an answer from me within a half a day. And if you need better than that, then we can start talking about some kind of retainer, and I can plan around that. But for now, I can offer like half a day. And I think in practice for the first few clients, it'll be better than that. But I still work a day job to support myself. And we do have about $300 a month of support for this project now, for all the projects on my Patreon. But I'd say still I'm the biggest supporter still. Like I think my personal money, you know, is basically paying me to work on this about at least part-time, if not approaching full-time, considering I have like 4 12-hour days. I mean, I probably put in at least 40 hours a week on this work, so yeah. I'm making about $2,000 a month total income, and that goes down quite a bit and not usually too much over that. So realistically, probably like $1,500-1,600 on average. It's seasonal. So yeah, and this year we closed down 1 extra day more than last year. So it's giving me a lot more time to actually work on this stuff, but a lot less income. So I got to do like membership drives or something to try to get a bunch of people onto this so that I can actually sustain this development, you know. At $12 a month, I mean, if I could get like 100 people to sign up, that would be awesome. I mean, it doesn't even quite replace 1 minimum wage part-time income. 100 people, that's going to be a pretty high support volume. You know, hopefully by that point we'll have some power users who can, I don't know, like I'll probably give credit to people who chip in and support. I'm just making this up right now. I haven't thought of any numbers or anything like that, but you know, I was kind of thinking about like people who refer someone to sign up. You know, they might get like a free month or something as like an affiliate program. But I don't want it to just be about like, oh, trying to get people to sign up for rewards. Like, these are actually good tools, you know? Like, people should just be liking it. And when I say sign up, I mean, you run it on your own server, so you're not actually signing up through my website and registering or anything like that. So yeah, sign up is used loosely. All right, so we can look at other things like the liked tweets. We used to be able to view other people's likes, but now only our own, so hence the URL is like that. But so we might still have this same 15-second pause here because all the scraping code for tweets uses the same stuff internally. It just basically opens to a different URL, but all the query parameters and stuff are the same, and that's how it looks inside of the app's code as well. So here's just a regular timeline. So the y-axis is how much engagement it got, I think. So sometimes if there's a lot of engagement, they might just be like popping through the ceiling. So when we've done inspiration scrolling before, I've tried to do it on the timeline, and it makes sense that that would not be good. So actually, if we scroll through the liked tweets or the bookmarked tweets for inspiration scrolling, that would make a lot more sense. Because here we already know that I've clicked hard on all of these. So they should be relatively good, all of them. Or noteworthy at least. So I got the individual tweet viewing code implemented, and view equals tweet. We just have to do it like that. Because if we try to load the whole thread, there'll be an issue, and I have a ticket posted for search functionality related to conversation and in reply to a particular tweet. Since I'm emulating the API, I might actually have to go to certain pages to scrape some of that specific search criteria. Like if I want all tweets in reply to a tweet, I might actually go to that tweets page and then scrape the replies instead of actually using the search endpoint, which doesn't support in reply to tweet ID through the web UI. It supports conversation ID, but not direct reply. So conversation ID could be any depth. So yeah, we're going to have to be kind of clever when it gets to real specific edge cases. So yeah. And then author thread, that is a, yeah, when threads were big, you know, one person like writes like, you know, how to steal your best friend's boyfriend, a thread, you know, that pasty thread that was kind of famous. Yeah, I don't know if people are still doing that as much these days, but that's what that was all about. Or we could do the full convo, and that would be all replies, not just author's replies to themselves. So yeah, what else? Liked, bookmarks, DMs, that's not going to work right now. It didn't even work before. It only showed the data on the screen because I did not really use DMs myself. And similarly, search, I didn't use like the sales and marketing stuff at the time. I just used the consumer stuff because I was just getting a feel for it. So that stuff, if you have special needs, like it's greenfield. Like I can do whatever. And I wrote this whole app a couple years ago before AI, so I can do pretty much anything by hand. But with AI, I'm going to be able to really rapidly pump out features. And I was in the middle of like redoing the content system for this, so when the Twitter API went down, and so a lot of stuff is just like partially done and abandoned because I couldn't work on it anymore. And so I'm having to just like review and figure back out where I'm at and what works and stuff like that. So for example, latest tweets, like I'm just kind of documenting this stuff to myself to get like one big README or manual or something out. We've got, I think hide. I'm going to confirm this before I press enter. Hide scene or something. So this would be in Hogumathi app. And then extensions, Twitter v2 facade. And then we've got some premium extensions too. Brands page, that's one I got to show you. So then facade, and then we were looking for latest.html. So some of the hidden options, exclude viewed, okay? So those blue tweets, if you don't want to see any tweets that you've seen before, you can do exclude viewed equals 1. And now on our timeline, it's gonna filter those out, so we won't see any blue ones this time if everything's coded right. This is one of the last things I did, but I'm pretty sure this worked because it was a pretty easy thing to do. Like, I'm already making it blue if we've seen it before, and so I can't see why the hiding logic would not just work if that's already working. So again, that longer wait, 15 seconds or whatever. There we are. So no blue stuff still. So then finally, I'm just going to go to following. Oh, actually, no, this is hard-coded to be my main account's username, user ID. Which I don't recall the user ID right now. This one. I remember it because it ends with 666. Ha ha ha. Alright, so now it's going to open the following to that user's following, and the pagination code here only, it doesn't scroll onto a subsequent page because I was just basically reviewing the tweet scrolling code and copying it over bit by bit to just make it work. I'm not sure. So it seems like it made a request twice, and I'm gonna guess this one gave back a list of users, but for some reason there's no list here, so I'm not sure what the deal with that is. I'm gonna just refresh it one more time. No, that gave an empty list. Interesting. But we do see data here. So that might mean that I have a filter function that's not working correctly. Oh, something I did today was just organize this code a little better too, because I just had a few files before and I was like going all over looking for stuff. So we do wait for 5 seconds before we scrape. Control scrape users. So user passes filter. So if not user or not ID, return false. And if we have seen the user before to deduplicate, then return false. So those are objects that all seem to have IDs on them. I'm not sure why we don't have any data here. Collected this page is less than target max results, and scrape visible users. Scrape visible users for user of visible if passes filter than that. Anyway, let's try it one more time. It's like the most unceremonious page ever. It's just a list of usernames who are following my other user. So it seems it already timed out here because that appeared. So that would be why it requested it a second time, because it's trying to get a second page. All right, so we'll just say that doesn't work for right now, but this is the state of things. So then with the graph component, so we can scroll through the archive. That's kind of interesting, going all the way from the very first tweets on an account forward instead of from now backwards. So now we can see, okay, what did my posting look like at the beginning of my account? A couple tweets a day back in 2008. Cool. And then we've got some RSS feeds. There's a general, like when I talk about the content system, you know, it's just unifying all kinds of content into this general feed item. So here's my channel plus Van City Van Life channel, and these were just RSS feeds or whatever serialized feeds stored at a point in time back when Chrome was redoing his engine for the AMBO. So this is RSS based for the most part. And then YouTube. So we click that, we can see the channels we're subscribed to. I don't think I have a list of playlists per channel, but with the playlist ID I can go to it through the URL. So we get the default playlist. Actually, maybe we do. I bet we do. We can find out real quick by looking at the code. Wait, that. YouTube. Facade is like a fake thing facing the front. So let's see if we got playlists with an S. Get channel playlists. Yeah, so get channel playlists.html. Okay, so there should be a menu item when we're looking at the channel page. Oh, interesting. Okay. So it should be here. Oh, top right. Yeah, okay. Cool, man. Because I've got different nav areas, so the page nav is there. All right, so that one has an error for some reason. Users is not defined, blah, blah, blah. All right. But yeah, same thing. Anything that's in this timeline view, anything that can be turned into a feed item can be put into a timeline view. So that's why you can see this works for pretty much any social media site that you just map to feed items. And then feed items, like, they can have their own actions. So depending if you're looking at YouTube, Twitter, whatever, you'll have different actions for them. So it's kind of brittle because I didn't like really thoroughly test all that, because I was just kind of chugging along, getting it all to a state where it looked good. It worked for Twitter, YouTube, and then yeah, Twitter shut off and just like crazy stuff was going on at home. You know, if I'm doing stuff called like the Homeless Data Project and like, you know, escaping narcissistic abuse and vulnerable adult and human trafficking and Free Britney and all this stuff, you can bet some messed up stuff was going on behind the scenes, you know. But yeah, really creative, really productive people a lot of times have really messed up stuff going on behind the scenes, and that's why they're so motivated. They're not just mature for their age, they're like in survival mode and trying to like survive their parents. So they're not just like old souls, they're abused and have wise ways to cope with it. So yeah, that's part of why this channel wants to be sovereign and do so much stuff self-sufficiently, you know. Look at that streak. Van City Van Life. The Chrome project now. My stuff will be showing all the stuff that I've put into archive mode. I'm trying to get to my, oh yeah, my channel there. So I think the brand page is broken on this server, but it is working centrally. Hogu. So part of the whole content system thing is to get like collections, feeds, partners, all this stuff onto the brand page. Like I want to have one mega feed of all the feeds. You know, so here we've got Twitter, YouTube, Mastodon, RSS, GitHub, Twitch, Instagram. Want to get all those feeds, and this does work in principle together onto one screen. Because each one returns a sorted feed, and then we can just merge all the feeds together into one big feed. So yeah, what else? We do have Mastodon and some other stuff. Oh, there it is right there. I think I've got, I don't remember what the name of the server is. But yeah, this will redirect us to mastodon.social. It'll tell it to redirect us back here after we sign in. And then boom, we'll have a mastodon.social blah 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 here, and we can scroll through that timeline as well if all that stuff is still working. And then I sell managed Mastodon servers, so that should actually be a store link. You know, so there's stuff I can do to kind of drive sales now that this is stabilizing and I'm showing it off and stuff. There's email as well. It turns your email inbox into a feed. So yeah, I feel like this is a pretty good foundation, like for anyone who wants to do stuff with their social media brands. You'll see coming out of the output, it keeps saying something, 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 something. something, something. So that's just showing that background tasks can be scheduled here. So if you want to like fetch our feed like every hour just to make sure it's archived or whatever, we can do that. So yeah, not too much broken this time. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it and have a good rest of your night. Cheers.